Hey girls, welcome back to my channel. So losing 45 pounds was one of the hardest but most rewarding things I've ever done. And the truth is, when I look back, I struggled a lot during that time. I doubted myself, I made some big mistakes, and I just wasted so much time because I didn't understand these 11 things. If you're on your own weight loss journey and you're just feeling stuck or frustrated or like nothing's working, I need you to know you're not alone. I've been there, but I'm gonna break down the 11 hardest lessons that I had to learn about fat loss, so hopefully you don't have to go through it. These are the things no one really talks about, but you need to understand, and they're really the key if you want to lose weight and keep it off. And fair warning, some of these are hard truths. They might be a little tough to swallow, but honestly, I wish someone would have told me these before I started, because it would have saved me a lot of pain and a lot of time, and I think I would have just had an easier time going through the journey and sticking with it. They're all super important, but number 6 was a big turning point for me, and I promise if you can get your head wrapped around this one, it will change everything. But real quick, before we get into it, if you like videos like this, make sure you sweat the thumbs up. That just means give it a little click. And if you're new to my channel, I'm so happy you're here. I have new videos every week sharing my health and fitness journey to help you with yours. And I do giveaways every week for my subscribers. They are getting bigger and better this year. This week's is gonna be an amazing meal plan and a month's supply of my LSF plant protein shake. So if you guys want to enter to win those giveaways, all you have to do is be a subscriber. So hit that little button and comment down below. I share the winners every week over in the community channel. It's a tab that looks like this. So make sure you guys check it out to see if you won. Let me know in the comments which ones resonate with you the most, or if you have questions, because I'll take the most popular ones and make other videos where I dive a little bit deeper. Number 1, you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. Nutrition makes up 80% of fat loss. This is true. We need to exercise. We need to be working out. We need strength. We need it for our bone density, our longevity, but diet is the most important thing, not only for fat loss, but for how you feel, your hormones, how your body functions. I used to think as long as I worked out really hard, I could eat whatever I wanted. Or if I was gonna go out drinking all night, I would just cut back on the food I was eating earlier. That is not a healthy way to live, and it never got me results. No matter how hard I pushed myself in my workouts, I wouldn't see the progress I wanted because I wasn't eating the diet to support those workouts. I was either eating way too many calories, or I was depriving myself of essential nutrients in order to eat junk food or to drink or whatever, and it's just like a lose-lose situation. The main point here is exercise is super important, but nutrition is the key. If you are trying to lose fat, if you're trying to get a healthy weight, you need to focus on your nutrition first and foremost. If you're not sure where to eat, I have so many videos with tons of recipes, tons of healthy tips. I have meal plans like the one you can win as part of this week's subscriber giveaway. So there are a lot of resources, but really it comes down to healthy whole foods in the most simple form you can find them. So however they're grown or raised or whatever, the closest to that is gonna be the best. Number 2, healthy does not always mean low calorie. And look, you know, if you've been here a minute, I'm not obsessed with calories, but if you're trying to lose excess fat, you have to be aware of the calories you're consuming. And I was eating all of these healthy foods like smoothies, avocado toast, granola, all these things that I thought were helping me in my healthy journey and my weight loss journey. But at best, I wasn't losing any weight. And most of the time I would see the scale go up, and I was so frustrated. I just couldn't understand what was happening because I stopped eating all the junk food. I was eating healthy food and nothing changed. But I realized a lot of those healthy foods were super calorically dense, meaning they were really, really high in calories, especially for small amounts. If you think of your nut butters and everything, I made a lot of videos about like snacks and things to avoid and ones to enjoy. But I think that like that was one of those things that was really hard for me to wrap my head around. Why is nothing changing? Like, oh, it's a lie. Like I just was like, oh, people are lying about this. No, I just didn't understand the calories that were in those foods. So you have to make adjustments. You have to be mindful. The meal plans that I have, I don't put the calories in there, but they're based on healthy macros to help you lose weight. So you can just understand and like start to learn what foods you need and like what healthy portions look like. So main takeaway, healthy foods can sabotage your progress if you're not mindful of how much you're eating. I always recommend measuring out your food or tracking it just for a week or two, again, so you can really start to learn what that looks like and then let it go. You don't want to become obsessed with tracking. You don't want to be like crazy about measuring stuff out. Like that's not how we live a healthy lifestyle, but it's a great way to get started just to help you learn. Number 3, motivation is not what keeps you going. Not in the way that we think of it, at least. I feel like you can probably relate to this, but I would go through these cycles over and over and over again where I'd be so motivated. I'd get working out, I'd be eating healthy, I'd be like on a roll, seeing progress for even a couple weeks. I'm like, ooh, things are happening. And then I would lose it. And I could never seem to like maintain that motivation. So the 2 things that I learned about this were, 1, the way I always thought about motivation was just like this feeling. Like I just wanted this feeling where I was excited. That's really more inspiration, right? And that does not last. That comes and goes. You cannot rely rely on inspiration and you can't rely on like that traditional idea of motivation to keep you going. You do need is a really, really solid why. And I talk about this in so many videos, but your why is more like what actually drives you. It's not a number on the scale. It's not just to be skinnier. It's not just to like lose a few pounds. It can't be a physical thing like that. It's got to be deeper. It has to be something like rooted in the essence of who you are. And that sounds like woo-woo, but truly it has to be like connected to like your soul, like who you are as a person. You are exercising every day or you are eating healthy every day because you want to feel good. You want to show up better for your family. You want to be a better person. And you know, if you do those things, you will be like, you're going to have more energy. You're going to sleep better, right? So you got to dig a little deeper for that why. So why paired with discipline, and discipline means you show up and do it even when it sucks, even when you don't feel like it. That was the hardest thing for me to realize. I still have to do it. If I want this to be a lifestyle, if I actually want to see real results, I have to do it even when I don't feel like it. And that's true discipline. And that's not easy to do. That's, if it was, everyone would be doing it, right? It's a mental thing. So you got to kind of change your mindset with that. We'll talk more about that in a second. But that for me was one of the biggest things, realizing like this feeling I was looking for was never going to come. Number 4, cardio alone will not change your body. I would spend so much time running miles and miles and miles and walking and just doing cardio. And even though the scale would budge a little bit, I wouldn't really see any changes in my body. Like nothing significant where I was like, wow, like this is really working. And I do a lot of walking. My goal right now this year has been 12,000 steps a day, which I've actually done almost every single day. It's super important, especially for fat loss. And it's a great place to get started. That's where I started my 45-pound weight loss journey, was just building that consistency of doing something and moving my body. But I didn't really ever see real change, like body composition, shape change, until I started adding in strength training. I like to think of it like this. Adding strength training, like the 3 days a week we do in the Move app, it really helps change your body composition by building lean muscle. So you're gonna actually start to see shape in your butt. You're gonna start to see your waistline come in. You're gonna start to see definition in your arms. Those things happen by doing strength training. So you build the muscle and you build the shape. And then your diet and things like walking and cardio help remove the excess fat so you can actually see that shape. Especially women as we age, strength training is so important for our hormones, for our bone density. It is like crazy how important it is, and people start doing less of it as they age. It needs to be the opposite. Number 5, for all my girls who love a scale or hate the scale but use the scale, I think it's really important for anyone really to understand fat loss is not linear. So we think like, okay, like for me, I'd always feel this way where I'm like, I've been working out consistently, I've been eating healthy, I get on the scale, nothing changes, nothing changes. Maybe I go down a little bit, then I go back up a few pounds. It is infuriating. It happens today if I use the scale where I'm like, yesterday I was 3 pounds lighter. What is happening? It is normal. Our body fluctuates from water retention depending on what we ate, what time of the month it is. It's gonna change. And even just as we actually are consistent in our journey, we're building lean muscle, we're losing fat. Sometimes there's an in-between. There's a lot going on. So you can't just trust the scale. That's first and foremost, but you have to realize like you need to just trust the process and give it time. And I get it. I used to be the girl, like after 4 weeks, if I wasn't seeing really serious results, I'd be like, well, this thing isn't working. I'm gonna try something else. You can't do that. You have to give something, honestly, like 8 to 12 weeks at least to really allow your body time to adjust and start to make those changes. It's about that consistency and really looking at long-term picture versus a couple of weeks, and stay committed to the process. Number 6 is realizing that mindset is everything. It literally will change the game for you if you can get your mind right. I used to beat myself up for every skipped workout, little cheat meal. I would be so hard on myself, or if the scale wasn't moving, like I would feel like I was stupid, I was incapable, there was something wrong with me, and it took a toll on me mentally and emotionally. I think that's one thing we don't talk about enough. Weight loss and everything around our weight and our body is such an emotional and mental connected thing. It's not just, oh, stop eating this and you're gonna be fine. No, there's so much more that goes into it. That feeling like I would never succeed, I was always a failure, I was never gonna be able to be consistent, and that bled into other areas of my life. And I kind of took that same mentality into school, into my work, into my relationship, and it starts creating almost this depression. I feel like I was never diagnosed, but I think that I had some level of depression because of that, and it just really took over my whole like mental and emotional state at the time. But I was doing it all wrong. It's those moments where when I finally finally clicked in back to like, the motivation is not going to be the thing that keeps you going. Like I had to click back into that why and really be like, what's the real reason I'm doing this? Okay, I need to stop worrying about what the scale says. I need to stop worrying about what's happening with my body. I just need to trust the process. I just need to keep doing it. And it's okay if I make mistakes. It's gonna happen. That's life. And they shouldn't even be considered mistakes because I'm just living. So how do I find a balance? Well, first it starts mentally changing my mindset and shifting that to be like, this is normal and it's okay. And how do I just create a lifestyle and a routine around this that makes sense and puts my health, my well-being, and how I feel first and foremost. And when I did that, I was really able to create real change. So be kind to yourself, realize it is about progress, not perfection. Show up consistently, stay disciplined, and give yourself love, celebrating all of those little wins. All right, I know we're only halfway through, so I'm gonna try to pick up the pace here, but this one is so important. And number 7 is that you are going to lose friends. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna happen. It happened to me and it was so hard to deal with. As I started making healthier choices, when I stopped wanting to go out late nights and eat junk food and drink so much and everything else, people just kind of drifted away. And now looking back, I'm like, wow, like it's so immature. Like, but those are not your people. Everyone comes into our life for a season. Some stay for the whole season of our life, and that's a beautiful thing. But most of the time, it's based on proximity, who's close to us, who's just makes sense because they're our roommates or we live near them or we work together. Lifestyle choices, all those things bring friendships together. So when you change one of those things, it's going to change. And I took it so personally and was so heartbroken and so sad, but I realized it wasn't about me. It was about them. And it's the things that made them feel insecure or that they already felt bad about that I now, by making changes, was highlighting, like putting a spotlight on for them, and it made them very uncomfortable. And that's okay. So if I can give you any advice, just be prepared for it. Like, don't be surprised when it happens, and understand that in some weird way, I know, it's a compliment to you. It's a compliment that you have now grown, you have changed, and they don't fit into that anymore. And that's okay. It might be a little sad, but it's okay because you have just made some incredible progress and change. You should feel just like so proud of yourself. And I've already done like 2 other videos deep diving into that, so definitely go check those ones out. Number 8, meal prep is a game changer. I've talked about this in so many of my meal prep videos, but I used to just wing it. But when I would do that, it would lead to last minute unhealthy choices and things that would end up just kind of leading me down a road that I didn't want to be on. Once I started meal prepping, it made it so much easier to stay on track without feeling those temptations, without feeling guilty, without feeling like I was just like messing up all the time. I knew I at least had certain meals throughout the day that no matter what happened, I could feel good about eating. And then the rest, if life happened, it happened, and that was okay. It just really allowed me to feel more in control of my body, in control of my food, and rely less on takeout and other junk. So set aside like 20 or 30 minutes even once a week to meal prep at least one meal. I promise you it is going to make your weight loss journey so much easier. Number 9, if you are on a weight loss journey, especially, stress management is key. It is going to feel stressful at times. You're like in new territory, trying new things, going outside your comfort zone, making changes. That coupled with the rest of life, you're gonna have stress. And I used to always churn to, boxes of cereal or bags of chips when I was bags of chips when I was stressed out, and would just like mindlessly eat. And that was a way of coping. So the thing that I found most helpful is being able to recognize that first and foremost, but having other outlets to try to get that stress out and let it go so I wasn't turning to food. I know that might sound obvious, but you have to have a plan. You have to know, like, when I'm feeling stressed out, this is what I'm gonna go do ahead of time. Because in the moment, you go back to all our old habits. So I had to say, like, okay, next time I'm feeling stressed out, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna make a cup of tea. I'm gonna do something that ideally doesn't involve food to help kind of start changing that habit. So my go-to isn't food every single time. Also, if you're stressed out, your cortisol levels are going to be raised and heightened more than they should be, which will lead you to either hold on to more fat or gain more fat, which we don't want. So you also want to reduce your stress just so you can support your weight loss goals. Number 10, sleep is so much more important than you think. There are studies that have shown that people who get 7 to 8 hours of sleep will lose 45% more fat than people who get less than 7 hours of sleep. I had the most erratic sleep schedule. I had a job where I would do overnight camp and I would get like 3 hours of sleep some night, 4 hours another, maybe 8 hours here, but it was all over the place. So I understand like sometimes life circumstances, jobs, babies, all sorts of things can mess with your sleep patterns. But if you're in a position where you can make sure you're getting 7 hours of sleep at least a night, do it. Make it happen. Don't scroll all night long. Like I had to break those habits because some nights when I would have the time, I'd end up watching TV like late into the night, laying in my bed versus going to bed. So I got the TV out of my room. Guilty, I do sometimes still watch it on my phone, but I usually still make sure I have that window to get 7 to 8 hours. It's when our hormones all regulate, when we're able to lose fat, we're building muscle, repairing. It is essential. It is just as, if not more important than your actual training. And number 11, this is a goodie. There is no finish line. When I started my journey, I kept thinking like, okay, once I lost this weight, then that's it. And I realized that in the past, I would do that. I'd have a goal of like 10 pounds and I'd lose it. And then I'd be like, great. And then guess what happened? I gained it all back. So this time when I lost the 45 pounds, I had to really realize I wasn't done. 45 pounds wasn't even a goal of mine. And I think that because I didn't have a number in mind, it really allowed me to create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. Because at first, like I wasn't prepared for the fact that you have to work just as hard to maintain. And people always say like, oh, Katie, you talk about your 45-pound weight loss journey, but what do you do now? It's the same. All the habits, all the things and the tips and everything I've shared with you that helped me lose 45 pounds, I still do those to this day. They're the lessons I've learned that help me maintain the weight loss over all these years and help me continue to get leaner and stronger and healthier and day after day just feel better because I've been able to maintain those things. Find a balance. Yes, you work hard and there's gonna be peaks where you work a little bit harder if you have specific goals. And then maintenance might be a little bit easier, but those habits need to be habits. They're not things you just stop doing once you get to a certain weight. If you want it to be a lifestyle, if you want to be in that small percentage of people who actually maintain it, that's the difference maker. This is who I am now. This is just part of my life now. They put it on autopilot. It becomes who they are. They embody that healthy lifestyle because they visually see that version of themselves living that life. And if you can maintain that, you realize how good it feels once you get in the habit of, moving your body daily, eating nutritious foods that make you feel better from the inside out, genuinely less stress, happier, healthier, sleep better, all of these things. Why would you want to go back to the old ways? And this is like a bonus number 12, but I think the most important lesson I really learned was that fat loss isn't about losing pounds. It was about gaining confidence, discipline, and respect for my body so I could feel good and be proud of myself every single day. And I know you didn't know me back then, but I'm telling you right now, if I could do it when I was at the lowest of my low, mentally, emotionally, physically, just messed up, you guys. I was messed up. I know you can do it. I'm here for you. I'm in the comments every weekend trying to get to as many as I can. I want to answer your questions. I want to be a support for you, myself, and this entire community. So girls, if you see comments when you're in here as well that resonate with you, someone's sharing a story or asking a question, feel free to comment to each other. That is why we're here. It's not just me and you. It's this entire community. So let's all help each other out. I love you all so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, again, split the thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you next week.